Now we'll see lumbosacral plexus. Lumbosacral plexus, it is a complex plexus because it is formed by the joining of two plexus. One is lumbar plexus, another one is sacral plexus. Lumbar plexus, it is formed by the joining of nerves L1, L2, L3, L4. Sacral plexus, it is formed by the joining of nerves L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4 nerves. So, together of these two plexus is called as lumbosacral plexus. When you see in the lumbosacral plexus, there is two portions are presented. One is upper portion, another one is lower portion. Upper portion, it is occupied by lumbar plexus, and lower portion is occupied by sacral plexus. So this lumbar plexus already completed for you during a posterior abdominal wall class. So it was taken by Dr. Navina madam. Now we will see sacral plexus. When you observe this spinal cord, there is two enlargements are presented. One is at the cervical region, another one it is at the lumbar region. And plexus are formed around these enlargements. So this cervical plexus and brachial plexus is formed at the cervical enlargement region. Cervical plexus is formed by the joining of nerves C1 to C4. Brachial plexus is formed by the joining of nerves C5 to T1. And around the lumbar enlargement, there is two more plexus are there: lumbar plexus, sacral plexus. Lumbar plexus is formed by the joining of nerves L1, L2, L3, L4. Sacral plexus, which is formed by the joining of nerve L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4 nerves. These two plexus together is called as a lumbosacral plexus. Finally, at the terminal portion, coccygeal plexus also formed here. This is formed by joining of nerves S4, S5, CO1. Now we'll see sacral plexus. Already I told you sacral plexus, which is formed by the ventral rami or anterior rami of L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, S4 nerves. When you see the sacral plexus in this diagram, you can understand. First is a L4 nerve. L4 nerve, after emerging from the transverse foramina, it passes laterally and downwards in the groove over the transverse process of lumbar fifth vertebra. Then it is passes laterally, divides as two branches: ascending branch, descending branch. Ascending branch passes upwards and involves in the formation of lumbar plexus. Descending branch runs downwards and involves in the formation of sacral plexus. So that's why L4 nerve it is involved in the formation of two plexus here. That's why this nerve is called as a nervi furcularis. Next, after L4 nerve it is descended downwards, and which is fused with the L5 root. L5 root, it is after emerging out through the transverse foramina of L5 vertebra, that is passes laterally and downwards in the groove over the ala sacralis and enters into the iliosacral joint. At the iliosacral joint, here it is fused with the L4 root. Here it is fused with the L4 root, and both together form a thickest trunk here. This thickest trunk is called as a lumbosacral trunk. So this is the formation of the lumbosacral trunk. Lumbosacral trunk, it is formed by the joining of L4, L5 roots. After the formation of lumbosacral trunk, it enters into the pelvic cavity. After it enters into the pelvic cavity, it successively receives S1, S2, S3, S4 nerves and forms sacral plexus. This sacral plexus, it lies behind the pelvic viscera and behind the peritoneum and in front of piriformis muscle. These are the relations. And each nerve of sacral plexus which receives gray rami communications of corresponding sympathetic ganglions. And each nerve, again, here it is divided as two divisions: anterior division, posterior division, or ventral division, dorsal divisions. except S4 nerve. S4 nerve here it is divided as a ascending branch and descending branch. Ascending branch involves in the formation of the sacral plexus. Descending branch descended down joins with the S5 nerve and CO1 nerve and forms coccygeal plexus. This coccygeal plexus, which is passes downwards and pierces the coccygeus muscle and continues as an anococcygeal nerve. And this anococcygeal nerve, it is pierces sacrotuberous ligament, and next it is passes towards the tip of the coccyx, and there it is supplies the skin at the tip of the coccyx. So this is about the coccygeal plexus. Here we need to understand this anococcygeal nerve is very important. This anococcygeal nerve you have to remember. Now we'll see sacral plexus. So sacral plexus we can divide as a 3 regions. One is root region, already you know roots. Another one is divisions region. In the divisions also there is anterior division, posterior divisions, you know already, except at the S4 now it is not divided as a anterior and posterior divisions. And after that branches region. So now we'll see the branches. So in this diagram also you can see ventral division, dorsal division, different colors, roots different colors. Altogether there is a 12 branches are presented here. In these 12 branches, 5 branches are confined to the pelvic cavity or pelvic region. So that's why these nerves are called as a pelvic branches. Remaining 7 branches are supplies gluteal and lower limb regions. So when you see pelvic branches, 4 branches arises at the root level, 1 branch it arises at the divisions level. Now we will see the pelvic branches. So here we are seeing the 5 branches of pelvic region. One is now 2 piriformis, now 2 levatorani and coccygeus, perineal branch of S4, pelvic splanchnic nerve. These 4 nerves are arises at the root level. Pudendal nerve it is arises at the divisions level. Now we'll see each nerve. Now 2 piriformis, it is the root value of this one is S1 and S2. And it passes downwards and laterally and supplies the piriformis muscle through pelvic surface. Now to levatorani and coccygeus, root value is S3 and S4. This is also descended downwards and supplies the levatorani and coccygeus muscle through pelvic surface. Perineal branch of S4, root value is S4. It is descended downwards, laterally enters into the ischiorectal fossa. In the ischiorectal fossa it passes along the tip of the coccyx, nearer to the tip of the coccyx, and supplies the sphincter ani externus muscle and skin around the perineal region or anus region. Next, pelvic splanchnic nerves. Pelvic splanchnic nerves it is formed by S2, S3 and S4 nerves. And these nerves are formed here inferior hypogastric plexus. So when you see in this diagram there is a 2 plexus are there, superior hypogastric plexus, inferior hypogastric plexus. Let's see the inferior hypogastric plexus formation. It is formed by the nerves which are coming from the superior hypogastric plexus as the post ganglionic branches, sympathetic ganglionic branches of superior hypogastric plexus. These 2 branches are descended down. One is right hypogastric nerve, another one is the left hypogastric nerve, and which is descended down, and it joins with the S2, S3 and S4 nerves, the sacral nerves, and also it receives the sensory branches from the visceral organs and forms together hypogastric plexus. And this hypogastric plexus lies around the internal iliac artery. And it is subdivided again, this hypogastric plexus, as a different plexuses along the visceral branches of internal iliac artery. So here we can see different plexus. One is rectal plexus. It is formed along the inferior rectal artery and supplies the rectum. And vesical plexus, it is formed around the vesical artery, and it supplies as bladder and ureters and seminal vesicles. Ureter, the adjacent part of the ureters. Next is the prostatic plexus. The prostatic plexus, it supplies the prostate gland, seminal vesicles, and here it is gives a cavernous nerve. This cavernous nerve, it supplies the erectile tissue of penis. So this is about the cavernous nerve. And next is uterine and vaginal plexus. This uterine plexus, which supplies the uterus, fallopian tubes and ovary. Vaginal plexus. This vaginal plexus, which supplies the vaginal region, and also it is gives a cavernous nerve for the erectile tissue in the clitorius and vestibular regions. So this is about the hypogastric plexus. Okay. Finally, we are going to see pudendal nerve. So when you see the pudendal nerve, the root value is ventral divisions of S2, S3, S4 nerves. When you see this pudendal nerve, actually, which is lies after a formation, this one, it is runs downwards below the piriformis muscle in the greater sciatica notch. After that, it is descended down backwards over the ischial spine along with the nerve to obturator internus and pudendal vessels. And after that, it is passes into the lesser sciatica notch. Then it is enters into the pelvic surface or medial surface of ischium bone. And here it is enters into the pudendal canal. In the pudendal canal, this pudendal nerve and pudendal vessels are passes. Now to obturator internus, it is separated from these two structures and supplies the now to obturator internus, and it supplies the obturator internus muscle. And here in the pudendal canal, these two this nerve and arteries passes forwards and divides as a branches. You see this pudendal nerve, it gives three branches here importantly: inferior rectal nerve, perineal nerve, dorsal nerve of penis. And here in this diagram, this is the pudendal canal regions, and here we are seeing inferior rectal nerve. This inferior rectal nerve, it is descended downwards and laterally, and next enters into the ischiorectal fossa, and in the ischiorectal fossa, here it is passes from lateral to medial side, arches lateral to medial side, and reaches into the lower part of this external is the anal canal region, and it is here it is supplies the external ani sphincter muscles, and also it is supplies the this perineal skin. This is about the inferior rectal nerve. Next we will see the perineal nerves. Perineal nerve, it is descended downwards. It is arises at the pudendal canal region, and then Alcock's canal, and then it is descended downwards, and it is enters into the perineal region. Okay, here, and here it is divides as a superficial branches and deep branches. This superficial branches and deep branches, here it is passes medially, and here deep branches are called as a muscular branches, and these muscular branches which are supplies the muscles in the superficial and deep perineal pouch, that is bulbospongiosus, ischiocavernosus, and superficial and deep transverse perineal muscles and sphincter urethra. Next, that lower superficial branches are called as a sensory branches. Sensory branches are gives as posterior scrotal nerves and labial nerves, and which supplies the posterior 2/3 of scrotum and labius majus. Okay, so this is about the perineal nerves. Next we will see dorsal nerve of penis. So this is dorsal nerve of penis. When you see here, this dorsal nerve of penis, it is passes forwards, and the next it is passes in between the this arcuate ligament at the pubic symphysis. Arcuate ligament is presented, arcuate ligament, and transverse perineal superficialis muscle. It is passes in between these two structures and enters into the penis, and here it is lies within the inner surface of here in the fascia, and this dorsal nerve of penis is continuous and supplies the skin of penis and at the glands of penis. Okay, and proprioceptal skin also it is supplies here. Okay, so this is about the dorsal nerve of penis. So these are the nerves we are seeing here in the pelvic regions. Okay, so these are the 5 nerves. Okay, so these are very, very important. So pelvic splanchnic nerves that form the inferior hypogastric plexus. So this in addition to this this inferior hypogastric plexus, it is produces vasodilation of erectile tissue of penis and clitoris. Hence it is called as a nerve of erections. So here erection of penis is stimulated by parasympathetic, when the ejaculation is finalized by the sympathetic nerves. So this is the important in the pelvic splanchnic nerves. Okay, now we'll go for lower limb and gluteal regions nerves. So in the lower limb and gluteal region nerves, here different nerves are there, 7 nerves are there, and these nerves are arranged as 2 groups. One is above the piriformis muscle, and one is below the piriformis muscle. Above the piriformis muscle, there is only one nerve, is a superior gluteal nerve. All these nerves you are studied during the lower limb region. Okay, and this is superior gluteal nerve. And below the piriformis, from lateral to medial, these structures are arranged like as a sciatica nerve, and now to quadratus femoris, and posterior cutaneous nerve of thigh, and inferior gluteal nerve, and now to obturator internus and pudendal nerves. So these are the structures which are presented below the piriformis. Okay, so when you see here, these are the 7 nerves are there. We'll see each nerve. Superior gluteal nerve. Superior gluteal nerve, here it is arises. All these nerves are arises at the divisions region. Okay, superior gluteal nerve, it is arises when dorsal divisions of ventral rami L4, L5, S1. Okay, it's a ventral rami of divides as a dorsal and ventral divisions. No, from the dorsal divisions it is arises L4, L5, S1, and it is passes above the piriformis muscle, and here it is enters into the gluteal region, and then it is supplies gluteus medius and gluteus minimus muscle. Next we'll see inferior gluteal nerve. Inferior gluteal nerve, which is arises from dorsal divisions of ventral rami L5, S1, S2, and it is passes below the piriformis muscle and supplies gluteus maximus. Okay, next we'll see now to quadratus femoris. Now to quadratus femoris, root value is ventral division of ventral rami L4, L5, S1. So this superior gluteal now root value and quadratus femoris now root value is same, but here it is a dorsal division, and now to quadratus femoris is ventral division. Then it is passes over the is a tricepital tendons and supplies the quadratus femoris and gemellus inferior muscle. Next is now to obturator internus. Now to obturator internus, which is root value is ventral division of ventral rami L4, L5, S1 and S2. Here inferior gluteal nerve root value and this now root value is same, but inferior gluteal nerve is dorsal division, and this is ventral divisions. And next it is passes laterally and supplies obturator internus muscle and gemellus superior muscle. Okay, posterior femoral cutaneous nerve. Here it is contains two divisions, dorsal divisions and ventral divisions of ventral rami. Okay, dorsal divisions are S1 and S2, and ventral divisions S2 and S3. Altogether, the root value is S1, S2 and S3. Okay, and this now it is passes downwards below the piriformis muscle and supplies the skin at the gluteal region, back of thigh, and upper 2/3 of the leg region. Next is the perforating cutaneous nerve, and this root value is dorsal division of ventral rami, S2 and S3, and this one it is supplies the skin of buttock region. Sciatica nerve, you know already sciatica nerve. These are two components are the tibial component and common peroneal component. So tibial component it is a ventral division, and common peroneal component is dorsal division, and ventral division, ventral rami of L4, L5, S1, S2, S3, it forms tibial nerve, and dorsal division of ventral rami of L4, L5, S1, S2, it forms common peroneal nerve. So this is about the sciatica nerve. Sciatica nerve sometimes it is divides below the piriformis muscle. Okay, that time the course is different. Okay, and usually it is divides at the this popliteal fossa region. All these things you studied it in the lower limb region. No need to revise all these things. This is about the sciatica nerve. Okay, so you can see this is over the schematic diagram, and this is one more schematic diagram. Okay, and, see, thank you for your concentration. If you have any doubts, please approach me.